Welcome to Radio Law Talk. Here's your hosts, Denise and Fred Penney.
Oh, Cal's having someone else try this. I don't know. Oh my gosh, Cal's back there directing our co-producer. That you can turn that music down if you'd like to. We're having a co-producer handle this thing right now, and Cal Hunter's clapping, even though he's not doing his job. There it is. The music's down. I'm Fred Penney. Denise Dirks is with me. We have Cal Hunter back at the. I'm going to call it the board, and he's got an assistant helping him by the name of Penney. He's a lawyer, or we're waiting to be a lawyer in our firm. And they're back there playing with all the radio stuff.
Just training.
Training. I hear this. And it's all right. Okay, all right.
So it's all good.
Those of you in Tennessee joining us for the first time, that's what you listen to.
I didn't say it was good training.
No, that was horrible. That was like, but that's why it's live. You get to see exactly what happens behind the scenes. We sit here, and by the way, there's a glass. We can see in the other room is where the control room is, and Cal is training a new co-producer. Hey, so anyway, we're going to talk about some interesting things this hour. We're going to talk about Jay-Z's lawsuit and his recorded deposition. That's an interesting thing about recording the depositions under oath of stars, and what protections they have, and some interesting things that they're trying to get from Jay-Z. And this is a perfume company suing Jay-Z. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lottery winner has to give a ton of the money to his ex-wife. We're going to talk about Denise, who does family law, a little bit about that. As Cal calls it, he calls it Divorce Saturday. So we have been talking about a lot of divorce cases, and it's going to be Divorce Saturday today. Remember, this is an interesting and exciting, but sometimes informative show. But we're only talking about general topics. Make sure you seek local counsel. We're not giving you legal advice. Except around the Christmas table or any family event where the in-laws are there and you want to show them up, you can just use Radio Law Talk as your source when they say, well, they say, because when they say there's no proof. But when you say, well, Radio Law Talk says that, so we just give you that little tidbit of help. So that's going on. We're also going to talk a little bit about the NRA in San Francisco lawsuit. The NRA did sue San Francisco. We're going to talk about the First and Second Amendment there. And then Amber Guyger, the Dallas police officer case, that thing has been beat to death. I mean, we know it's been beat to death, as in, not to say it in a bad way, but I mean, everyone's constantly talking about it.
It's still interesting nonetheless, I think.
And the interesting thing Denise and I are going to talk about is the difference between the murder and manslaughter, and why she wasn't convicted of manslaughter, and that issue. But if you want to call us at 855 Law Radio, you can call us and talk to Cal or Garrett Penney. We miss Todd Cunin, who is off shooting a commercial. He is a working
Where's
man.
Todd?
Yeah, he's not with his kiddies, but he's shooting a commercial. And then we're going to get into all kinds of fun stuff. If we have time, we're going to talk about whether or not Harvard and other schools discriminate against choosing students. And, the answer to that...
Of course they do.
Of course they do. And it's not just Harvard. All schools discriminate. Now, is it a discrimination that is a bad thing? Or is it illegal? Is it legal? And it's interesting what the courts say about that, because discrimination can mean a lot of things. It's not in the traditional sense, but of course they're going to say, okay, we want some more people from Idaho. And in fact, I always tell the story about an individual that I went to law school with that was single, that was very bright, super bright, from a little tiny town of Idaho with only, I think, a 600, 800 population, and he got accepted to Harvard over a lot of the big city kids that did just as well. Why? Because, and actually that's what the judge talks about is, they want diversity, and a little farm boy from 600 population out of Idaho, not a lot of them applying to Harvard. And it was a white male, and he got accepted. But
Because it's diversity,
Right.
not just in racial diversity
Right.
or cultural diversity, but it's also financial diversity.
And
But also
grades.
the
They're
courts,
looking for that
but the courts have also
component on it.
defined aggrieved classes, right? I mean, so you can say, well, if it's an aggrieved class could say, well, they didn't pick me, I'm an aggrieved class, I should have gotten in versus,
Right.
the smart kid
And
from
that's
Idaho,
why
right?
it's a lot of it's an Oriental association of kids that they think they're being discriminated against, and they may be, and to some degree. But it's interesting that the stuff that I was reading, and this trial came down to a huge statistical, fight and everything about deep statistics that would spin people's heads just thinking. But one interesting thing I found is there is some huge discrepancies of people that are accepted in their grades and in their SAT or ACT scores. I mean, like literally much lower grades and
that's
ACT
just not
scores.
high on the priority list.
Yeah.
It's one of the factors, but it's not the factor.
Yeah, but there is interesting. If you look at it on its face, you think, well, of course they're discriminating, but don't all schools to some degree?
Well, if you don't believe Fred, you can check the USC volleyball team.
Yeah, we're talking about the emission scandals. We will. Hey, let's talk about the emission scandal in a minute, but we do have an update on the college admission scandals after we do case or no case. So those of you in Tennessee who are joining us for the first time, welcome. We do have some two new affiliates out of Tennessee joining us. We do have a thing called Case or No Case where Cal, our illustrious producer, tells us a case scenario, and we have to determine whether it's a real case or he's faking it and what the outcome is. And the first winner to 50 points, the other co-hosts have to buy a dinner of steak and lobster. So when I get my steak and lobster, I think I know the restaurant I'm going to go to.
Should have seen the look Denise just gave you when you said
Yeah.
that. She didn't seem convinced that you were going to win.
Well,
Although
the points
you are
are pretty
ahead.
close. I'm getting pretty close to 50 points.
You are.
So
You
with
are.
that, get ready to roll. Case or no case?
Are the double points?
Now it's time to play Case or No Case.
Double points for this one on Case or No Case. Double points. That means if you win, you get to add on a total of, up to 4 points. If you lose, we subtract the same amount.
And first hour, Cal, Denise and I got 0.
0 the last time. I skunked you both,
my gosh.
and I'm just sick about the whole thing. Okay, now I start off with Peter Vukovich, a pitcher for the Philadelphia Baseball Phillies organization, a promising left-hander, but he blew out his left elbow, and he underwent Tommy John surgery. And at the hospital, after the transplant surgery, they used an automated blood pressure machine, which the technician really put on there very, very tightly. And it sampled his BP every hour, and on so tight, not only did it take his blood pressure, it starved the ligament that was transplanted on his elbow, rendering the treatment useless, finishing Vukovich's career. So the Phillies and Vukovich sued St. Marie's Hospital in Port St. Lucie, Florida, for the next 3 years of Vukovich's salary, all $75 million of it. The team said the salary was guaranteed. Vukovich says, I don't care who pays me, I just want my $75 million. And so I ask you, Denise Dirks, case or no case?
Vukovich.
Vukovich, Vyukovica.
What year was this, Cal? Do you
This
have
was
the year?
fairly recently, 1999.
99. So I'm right at the cusp. Okay, so the question is not whether there's a suit, but it's who he sues. So does he sue his baseball Phillies
The team does the suing. The team does the suing.
Oh.
They want to recover the salary from the hospital, the $75 million from the hospital. They're very upset that they have to pay this guaranteed contract to Peter Vukovich.
Okay. All right. There is no privity contract between the team and the hospital, and the rights go to Peter Vukovich,
yeah.
not the team. The team does not have a right to sue the hospital. So I'm going to say lawsuit is a case, but the team loses.
Okay. And that's a good.
I got to
one.
be pretty close because I
that's a
feel
good
it.
Yeah, we're almost at our break time. I've got some interesting little tidbits to talk about this because I know this area a little bit of law. In fact, I can't talk about cases that we deal with, but we do have similar type of cases, and I'm going to discuss it after the break, and it's going to be very interesting, some things I bring up, even though I'm not a very interesting person. We'll be back after this. Stay tuned.
I would disagree. You're just fine. We'll take a break. We'll come right back for the second segment of Radio Law Talk for this hour. Don't go away.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com. Not all law firms have extensive experience in all areas of the law. It's wise to look for firms that have knowledge and understanding in your particular area of concern. So go to prolawfirms.com. They have listings of attorneys in key areas of practice, such as family law, estate planning, personal injury, bankruptcy, and so forth. When you're looking for a lawyer that has extensive experience in your particular area of need, go to prolawfirms.com. That's prolawfirms.com.
ProLawFirms.com is not a law firm and does not endorse or recommend any specific law firm.
Warning, don't let your business get left behind in what is likely to be the biggest economic boom in recent history. If you need to build for your business to grow, call General Steel today for a pre-engineered steel building designed for your needs. No wasted space. Steel prices are expected to rise, but you can still lock in your price on a General Steel building. And you can still save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. As much as half. But you must call now. If you need a church building, office, warehouse, manufacturing space, retail space, or more, call General Steel today. You can still get the General's 50-year structural warranty and General Steel quality, all at a price you can afford. So don't let rising steel prices put your project out of reach and stop you from making your company great.
800-617-9312. 800-617-9312. 800-617-9312. That's 800-617-9312.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics, chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
All right, guys, we need to have you read some lines for our disclaimer promo, but first, can anybody tell me what a disclaimer is? All right, then. Well, Denise, you go ahead.
Non uti concilius me oriere perquestis purpurium juris consult.
Latin, that's a nice touch. Thank you, Denise. Next time we'll try it in English if that's okay. Fred, how about you?
Cal, I don't want to read all this. Can't we just tell the people that we're discussing general legal issues and they should hire their own attorney instead of relying on what we have to say here?
Well, we could, I guess. Chris?
I'm not going to be there anyway. Why have me do it?
Let's have Todd do it.
Me? Read disclaimers? Why, I couldn't. The information you hear on Radio Law Talk is general.
The preceding promo was for entertainment purposes only. And if you want true legal advice, contact your own lawyer. Just a tip from your friends at Radio Law Talk.
Be sure to read our disclaimers on radiolawtalk.com as well.
I've got to get my car washed. This dirt, it just won't do. But I don't have no time today. I don't know what I do.
Man, I know this place right down the road. Quick, quack, car wash. Hop inside, let's take a ride and watch this cat and shine. Just come and see, I guarantee your ride will steal the show. Come on, quick, quack, car wash. Don't drive that dirty car. Quick, quack, car wash. They'll have you looking sharp.
If you're one of those independent people who wants your own business and you love food service, we just might have a great opportunity for you. Iceberg Drive-Ins. Iceberg is famous for its thick shakes and delicious food. We lend you our supply chain and expertise, and you can potentially have a thriving, successful, fun business that your customers will love. Iceberg Drive-Ins has some prime areas available right now, so if you're interested, get in touch with us right away. Go to icebergdrivein.com and click on the Contact Us button. Iceberg Drive-In, ready to grow with you.
No points for you.
This is Radio Law Talk with Frederick Penney.
We're back on. We're here.
Advertising for legal service. I apologize. My timing is goofed up right now. I think that's probably something where my brain got a little affected. So I apologize.
No,
I'll work on that.
Yeah, you work on that, and we're going to be off a little bit. We have Cal back, just so you know. We're not going to get in details, but Cal's been a little bit sick, and he's back for the first time. We forgive you, Cal, for taking us in late and taking us out early. So
okay, trying to help.
But we're doing case or no case. So. Case or no case, you talked about this Peter Vukovich, and the interesting thing for me, Cal, is I follow sports pretty well, and we've got to make sure that, I don't know this. That's important, that case or no case, I'm not cheating, but I don't know Peter Vukovich from the Phillies, and I'm sure there is such a person. Because I even have, did I tell you I have a bunch of baseball cards from the 1960s on that I love them. I love baseball cards. But anyway, he has the Tommy John surgery. He has a $75 million guarantee from the Phillies. And they basically argue that the hospital screwed up the surgery. Therefore, he's out for good. And now the team has to pay him $75 million. And they don't get to use this pitcher. And the question is case or no case. And Denise, you said that it is a case, but they lose, as in the Phillies lose, correct?
Yeah, because they don't have any privity of contract between the hospital and themselves.
Good point. And I said before the break that it's important that I have something interesting to say. I don't have the contract in front of me, but I will. We don't bet here, but I always say I bet nickels. My grandpa say that there is rights in the contract that they can, and this happens a lot, they can transfer the rights to the team to sue on his behalf. And so what happens is the team can sue on behalf of the player and step in their shoes, and I bet there's a clause in there that allows them to do that with Peter Vukovich. And that's what they're doing. Now, whether they win or not, I think this is a case. This is a standard scenario, but I'm worried about Cal kind of tricking us. But 1999, this is a case, and I believe they do win against the hospital for a medical malpractice. I'm backtracking and saying this is a scenario, but not a case. Dang it, I'm going on the limb. Not a case, Cal, but it is a true scenario. No case.
Well, Peter Vukovich is an actual player, but from a much earlier era. So I'm just passing that along. For those of you who say it was a case, sad news, Denise.
Yeah, I changed last minute, Denise. I knew that. I was just thinking, I don't remember Peter Vukovich. Maybe I do.
Yeah, it was many years ago. He was a player. But at any rate, I'm sorry. I just pulled up a name out of my archive of foolishness, and there it is, Peter Vukovich. This has happened before, apparently, my understanding, but I don't know how that all came out.
I will tell you, Cal, that...
so does he get two? Because he said it's a scenario, but it's not a case.
He gets 1 point, and you get -2, Denise.
Oh, okay. Right.
Well, it was double points,
was
it not?
No, I get two. I get 2 points. It's double, so I get 2
double points. You didn't say we get points taken.
We used to, Cal.
Did I?
No, you didn't say it.
Okay, Cal. It's up to Cal.
Fine.
Cal's the ultimate.
It's fine.
Okay, but give me 2 because it's double points. So instead of 1, I get
all right,
2.
Yeah, I give you a +2. Denise, I'll give you 1 point.
1? No, it's 0.
No, I get 0.
0.
I clearly said it was a case.
Denise, I'll give you 0 points.
Okay, there we go.
How's
all
that?
Right.
Fair enough. Okay,
so am I still 39 and he's 45?
I don't know, but
Good enough.
I'll tell you this one. Here's what I know. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Case or No Case. Next hour, I'm going to take you to the movies for Case or No Case.
All right, let's do the movies. Hey, it's Divorce Saturday. So talk about the man who wins a $50 million lottery in Michigan.
It was $80 million.
I mean, $80 million. Did I say 50? $80 million in Michigan. And the estranged wife says, what happened?
Well, it's a really interesting case because the facts are not in dispute. The man and wife, they separated. They actually had filed for divorce, and yet there hadn't yet been anything really done on the divorce yet. And this case went to arbitration. But while the parties are separated, and after the wife had filed for divorce, 2 years later, the husband won $80 million in the Mega Millions lottery jackpot, which amounted to $38 million after the taxes and the deductions were taken.
Wow,
so he didn't want to split this with his wife, and this is the funnest thing. I love this. They looked at the fact that this man made a lot less money than his wife. His wife made, between
100 and 125.
Yeah, exactly.
100 and 120,000 annually, and this.
And
I got to be careful how I say it. This guy earned the average of $36,000 a year during the marriage.
That's right. So he was making a lot less during the marriage, and he was buying these lottery tickets and
throughout the marriage.
Yeah, throughout the marriage. And so the community took the losses on these other tickets that he had bought throughout the marriage. So the arbitrator said, "Hey, look, since he made less money and spent most of the community property that he brought to the community on these lottery tickets, and he didn't pay any support for the children, and there's lots of things, then he needs to provide half of this to his former wife." And the arbitrator, during this decision, it comes up, and then the arbitrator dies.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was crazy. And so then another arbitrator comes in and makes the same award, and then it's upheld by the courts.
The interesting thing about this too was that he dies, and the Michigan Court of Appeals upheld it in June of 2019. But at the time, they were separated, Denise. My understanding, again, I've been wrong before, but not quite divorced at the time that he won the lottery. Can you see this? Whoops, I'm getting divorced. I better hide this. Oh, what? I'm going to be on TV.
Well, there's a California case that we should talk about very briefly.
All right, well, we'll talk about that when we come back from the break. I'm Frederick Penney, your host of Radio Law Talk. Call us at 855-LAW-RADIO or tweet us at Radio Law Talk.
Thanks for turning on Radio Law Talk on radiolawtalk.com and on the radio. We'll be back.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com.
Jason Ross back here with Fred Penney, managing attorney from Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types of personal injury cases. We're former insurance company trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
That's Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or give them a call, 1-800-616-4LAW. That's PENNEY lawyers.com.
This is Denise Dirks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us. 800-918-1376. 800-918-1376. 800-918-1376. That's 800-918-1376.
Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Smile.
Smile, buddy.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy. You know how boys are.
Or maybe he's teething. Oh, poor baby. I think his gums hurt.
Maybe he's just tired.
Or maybe his tummy hurts. He didn't eat that much.
Maybe he's not ticklish.
You think maybe he's scared of the dog?
Maybe he'll outgrow it. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe he just doesn't like smiling.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs or see a doctor today for an autism screening. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better. And it can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less. 800-263-2610. 800-263-2610. That's 800-263-2610.
I am Cameron Levitt, Chief Operating Officer of Concussion Medical Clinic. California's first concussion medical clinic is now open. As concussions increase each year, there has never been a greater need for concussion specialists. Our physicians at Concussion Medical Clinic are board certified in pediatric neurology and sports medicine and have partnered with universities, hospitals, and rehab clinics to expedite the recovery process. Simply put, we are elevating the standard of care. When you need an expert concussion opinion or concussion care, visit concussionmedicalclinic.com to schedule your appointment.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Is this real life?
This is Radio Law Talk.
We are back, Denise and I and Cal Hunter, the Three Musketeers, and Garrett. Thank you for joining us and co-producing this wonderful show where we're talking about lotteries and divorce. Cal said it best. Cal called it Divorce Saturday. So today is Divorce Saturday at Radio Law Talk. But there's some interesting things about, even though we just discussed this Michigan case in California about the lottery. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, the interesting thing is it was back in 1999 when this decision came down. Thomas Rossi and his wife Denise Rossi never had any marital problems at all. And then all of a sudden Denise Rossi told him, I want a divorce. And she filed for divorce just weeks later. He couldn't figure it out, and she didn't ever really tell him. But he finally found out what happened. 3 years later, or 11 days before she filed for divorce, she had won $1.3 million in the California lottery. She never told him.
Didn't. Oh,
she
no.
never told anybody. She didn't tell her attorney. She didn't tell anybody. And somehow he found out about it, and he took her back to court. And the judge in that case, it was out of Los Angeles, gave all of the money to the husband.
Good job, Judge.
And because in her deposition, she admitted that she concealed her winnings because she didn't want her ex-husband getting his hands on them.
But Denise, wouldn't that, I mean, under California law, isn't something that you get, that you acquire when you are still a couple, isn't that somehow
50-50?
Community
That's
property?
community property, clearly.
But shouldn't it be 50-50, isn't it? Or
Well,
not?
okay, I'm glad you asked that question
Yeah.
because this case, to my knowledge, was not appealed. Or if it was appealed, it didn't go all the way through the process. And so I'm not so sure that it is good law because it's a little bit too punitive. What the law is that you have to
In
disclose
California.
California.
Yeah.
You have to disclose all assets and debts, all income and expenses, period.
Right.
And if you fail to disclose something, that's what could be called a breach of fiduciary duty.
So just like you were declaring bankruptcy, the same principles would apply, right? You'd have to list everything that you had, everything that you
It
owed.
is.
Yeah,
It's very, very similar. And if you don't, it could be fraud. Or it could be a breach of fiduciary duties.
Wow.
What's the damages?
The judge can punitive damages. I guess he could punish you, or she can punish you.
You're not supposed to do that. That's the truth.
Okay, that's what I want to
So
know. Yeah.
damages for breach of fiduciary duty are those that flow from the breach. So if $1.3 million flows from that breach, she kept it all. The most he should have gotten would be half, and any costs for attorney fees or costs for experts or other type of costs to get it back. So in other words, if he took her deposition, he'll get those deposition costs back, but he shouldn't get more than his half of the actual asset itself.
But he basically sounds like.
But why is that?
Yeah. He made the judge mad. That's what I always say. You made the judge mad, is what you did.
She made the judge really mad, but the judge was punitive and not actual damages were awarded. It was more. I suspect that that's not the law now. Since that time in 1999, the law of breach of fiduciary duty in family relationships, and specifically divorces, it has grown and grown and grown and developed a little more. And my thought is that he would get half. No doubt about it, and he would get all his attorney fees and costs, period.
Interesting.
Whatever it took to get it.
And every state's different. All states are, but generally, it's funny, we talk about things, and we're all over the United States with our radio law talk, but there a lot of them are similar, but they're just a little bit different here and there. But that's why we tell you seek local counsel all the time and see. But to me, that's interesting. I don't do family law, and to me, it's like. Yes, ma'am. What else would you like me to do? And that way I don't have to come see you, Denise, ever. So.
But I'm fascinated by the idea of lying in court. To me, that seems just like a dumb strategy. Didn't she have a lawyer? Was she not represented?
She didn't tell her lawyer.
Oh,
she
man.
didn't tell anybody.
Not the first and the last time that's happened with lawyers. Believe it or not, everyone's like, oh, what'd you... No, clients don't always tell the lawyers everything.
I will tell you, a lot of times you find out things at trial that your client has omitted, or at the hearing when, something happened and you're finding out for the first time, you're like, how do I mitigate this?
Let me tell you about, I got a quick story, a lawyer story, about a lawyer I knew that had a trial where it was a county vehicle, and this individual got in an accident, and the whole thing was a he said, she said. And as they took the depositions, there's always one question that's always asked in a deposition. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? The answer is no. And as they're in trial, during trial, the defense for the county steps up and says, well, isn't it true, Mr. or Mrs., I'm not going to tell you Mr. or Mrs., that way it's anonymous. Isn't it true that you were arrested, 2 years ago and were in county jail here in this county that you're suing for stealing county property and getting caught breaking into county? No, I don't remember that. You don't remember doing this, and right as a lawyer, you're going, oh my heavens, here we come, and it's like, and all of a sudden they Your Honor, and they show them the evidence of their conviction, and then it shows the jail time. They've got it all there, and they testify. They can bring in individuals to testify about it. Sure enough, and then the individual's like, yeah, I think I do remember that now. Yeah, I was arrested for felony,
man.
and it was like, and so and they lost the case. And
the loss of credibility is huge. I mean, when you can really discredit a witness. Well, I had fun last week. I discredited somebody, but I also made them cry, and that made me feel bad personally. But at the same time, it was the first time I ever made anybody cry.
But you're in an emotional situation when you're doing divorce court.
And people are really, really emotional.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, and it's very difficult, and thank goodness the judge took a break and, let things settle
down. So here,
helpful.
Yeah, thanks. Jay-Z, I know I jumped into things really. This is interesting. So Jay-Z apparently had a contract with a perfume company, a fragrance company called Parlux, Parlux, and apparently there was an agreement in 2016 where he was going to promote this perfume. And the perfume was called Gold Jay-Z. And I don't know if it was such a good good perfume, I guess I would have been wearing it. But Gold Jay-Z perfume, they sued him saying that he didn't go out and promote it per the contract, okay? This is setting up what's going on. So in these celebrities, what they do as attorneys, so the attorneys for the perfume company, Parlux, is taking his deposition and they video him. And that is not unusual to do a video deposition. But as celebrities, they don't want their deposition videoed because something might come out that'll harm their reputation, which is they do. They have other contracts with other things. I'm sure Jay-Z's got huge contracts with other businesses. Mm-hmm. And so there's this fight is not necessarily over the case, over his deposition.
I know. I couldn't believe that he refused to do the video deposition and he did not get sanctioned.
I'm telling you why, Denise. Tell
yes.
Why. You know why. Why?
Well, because it's about leaks. So what Jay-Z was worried about is that somebody would leak this deposition, not for the purposes just of the trial.
That's exactly right.
And his likeness is there. Everything that's proprietary about Jay-Z, the way he talks, the way he sings, all of that was in this videotape deposition, or would be. And so the judge really did find that he acted with just cause.
Yeah, so backing up a little bit. So what happened is, the issue is, was he doing his job and going out and marketing this? So some of the evidence that they found that'll determine where he was, and he says, yeah, I was marketing, show me proof, is in his private journal. And so they have subpoenaed his private journal, and they're going to talk to him about his private journal on this deposition that will be videotaped. Now, how depositions occur with videotapes is they put like a, what do you call it, a watermark over the deposition, and the court reporter keeps the original. And what happens is the court reporter always keeps it, and Jay-Z and their lawyers are worried about that original going out without the watermarks. And so that's
because
the big
watermarks will tell who leaked.
That's exactly
the deposition itself.
That's exactly right. And so, and there is confidentiality agreements in this that they cannot, and the courts are good about making sure these are confidential. It's not going to get out. So the judge did something very interesting here. I can't remember if it was a he or she, but the judge said, what we'll do is the minute the watermark ones are made, the deposition and the videos, we will destroy the original video that has no watermarks.
Which is unheard
brilliant,
of.
But that's brilliant, though.
It's brilliant. It's totally unique to this case, but it is unusual because usually you lodge the original with the court.
That's exactly right.
And so the original then gets lodged with the court, and then everybody has that original sitting there for the judge to look at.
Yeah, Mariah Carey twice had her deposition taken in lawsuits. And so this is nothing new. So that's, anyway, Jay-Z's, I'm going to say something that's going to help him out, that maybe he doesn't have to have his deposition videoed, sent all over the place. By the way, they're claiming they lost $18 million, this perfume company, and Jay-Z's arguing that they owe him $3 million that they didn't pay him. So this is over a lot of money. We'll be back. We're going to talk a little bit about San Francisco and the NRA when we come back.
More Radio Law Talk is straight ahead right here. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Johnny Erickson Tata. Not long ago, I was watching an episode of America's Got Talent when I noticed the singer that was about to perform had no shoes on. Her name is Mandy Harvey, and she's totally deaf. Though she can no longer hear due to disease, this young woman is able to sing beautifully. Mandy uses visual tuners when she practices to ensure that she's hitting the right notes, and she performs without wearing shoes so that she can feel the song's beat through the floor's vibrations. When asked why she sings, Mandy said, "I sing to encourage other people. It's what makes me happy." Oh, friend, you just have to hear this talented woman sing. To watch the clip of Mandy performing her original song titled Try before a live audience, visit disabilitycampaign.org. And hey, if you have a disability, let Mandy be an encouragement for you to follow your dreams.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com. All advertising for legal services on radio.
This is Denise Dirks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
I knew I had a problem, but I didn't know what to do about it.
I tried counting calories, I took pills, eating, and then more eating.
I really wanted to stop, but nothing could make me stop.
At one point, it was so bad that I just felt like giving up.
I felt so alone.
Like nobody else could possibly understand.
We understand. We're Overeaters Anonymous, and we have helped thousands of people just like you. People who want to stop their compulsive eating and start living a healthy, rewarding life.
Overeaters Anonymous, help me get my life back.
Now I eat in a way that's healthy and good for me.
I never realized what I was missing out on.
With OA, I am living again and loving it.
Start living the life you deserve with help from Overeaters Anonymous. Find us on the web at oa.org.
Many women have so many clothes in the closet, but then we go to get dressed and find we have nothing to wear. We've all been there. We all want to be comfortable and fashionable at the same time, and it's difficult to find clothing that makes that task effortless. But at Letty & Company, you can find trendy, comfortable clothing that is affordable. Things you want to wear every day. Shop with a purpose, online with free shipping. Just go to lettyandcompany.com. lettyandcompany.com.
The cost of getting rid of garbage is high, and recycling products is lucrative. If you're a business or know of a business that needs an individual compactor or baler, call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. If you already have an industrial compactor, baler, or shredder and need service, don't forget to call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. Northwest Compacting, your full-service industrial compacting and baling company. Read more about them at northwestcompacting.com.
Jason Rosbach here with Fred Penney, managing attorney from Penney & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types.
Oh, stop it.
Time to get back to Radio Law Talk on radiolawtalk.com and on your favorite radio station.
Hey, shocker alert, 855 Law Radio if you want to call in or tweet us at Radio Law Talk. Shocker alert, ready for it. The NRA and San Francisco don't get along. I don't think San Francisco gets along with anyone, and I'm just being straight up with you and telling you I don't think unless you follow their agenda, and we are politically neutral, and I know that, but just I'm sorry, but even on the left, people are going, what? I mean, come on, San Francisco, really? Come on. I mean, again, politically neutral. You're right. I'm biting my tongue so hard, and this has nothing to do with the left or the right or the middle. They just do these bizarre things, just bizarre. So they come out and call the NRA literally, and it's a unanimous vote in the San Francisco City Council, the NRA as a terrorist group within the United States. They call them a terrorist group and basically say anyone that's doing business with them within our city basically can't, or they're going to be, and so the NRA sues under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and Second Amendment, freedom to bear arms. And guess what? It doesn't last but a short time, and the mayor, London Breed of San Francisco, wonderful, smart thing, and I tell you, it wasn't the mayor, it was their council for San Francisco were pulling him aside and going, let me tell you something, guys. Not only are you off, you're so far off the edge here, don't even try it. And so the mayor comes out, and rather than waiting from an instruction from the court, the mayor backs down and says, no, this is a quote, no municipal department will take steps to restrict any contractor from doing business with the NRA or to restrict city contracting opportunities for any business that has any relationship with the NRA, which was the smart thing to do.
Otherwise, they're going to face years and years and years of litigation.
Well, it's just not litigation. It's just not right, Denise. I mean, I don't care what you say. We're neutral. That is not right. I don't care if it's the NRA. I don't care if it's NAACP. Whatever group it is, you can't do that. You can't restrict them because of what their speech is. That's what the government. I mean, that's what we're this whole government and our whole.
It's a freedom of association under the First Amendment, and then it's the right to bear arms under the Second Amendment.
And freedom of speech too,
Oh, and freedom of speech too.
Yeah.
But it was the Board of Supervisors that did this, and then the mayor backed down, which was really important. And just exactly what you said, you believe that, of course, the city council, the attorney for the city or the attorney for the mayor said, hey, we're not going to win this one, first and foremost. And secondly, why spend our resources on doomed litigation?
Well, Denise, and why don't you take care of the 5 billion homeless, sorry, that's an exaggeration, homeless people on your city that are parked all the way up and down the city that you can't figure out what to do with San Francisco?
Don't get me started because federal's cut funds for the homeless.
Okay, but I'm saying...
But isn't the real question who said this was a good idea? Who brought this up in the first place?
It was the Board of Supervisors.
But somebody on there, somebody made the proposal before it could be seconded and voted upon, right? I mean, somebody did that.
It was unanimous, so yes.
But here's my point. I want to jump back in, Denise. I'm not going to let that point go. My point is that's an issue too, but how much money are they going to spend fighting this lawsuit? Take that money and put it toward the homeless.
Millions.
That's what I'm trying to tell you is put it toward the city, something that'll be good.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say is put it to help the homeless instead of fighting the NRA on this thing. The odds of you winning are slim and none. Now, here's the interesting thing about it that we haven't discussed yet, Denise. I didn't know this. There's also a similar ordinance in Los Angeles that got passed. I didn't know that.
Yes, that's true.
That they are fighting right now. The NRA is that basically says kind of the same basic thing. And so the NRA is going after them. And the NRA says, we're going to fight everybody that tries to do this, any city. But now I wonder if Los Angeles is going to see, maybe we shouldn't do this with the NRA.
Yeah, well, I think because the city, LA, tried to bring a motion to dismiss the case, and they lost that motion. So the case is going forward. And I think they should be seeing the writing on the wall.
Yeah, and just back off and not do the same thing. But anyway, there you go. That's the city of San Francisco actually stepping up and doing, at least in a legal sense, doing the right thing and the smart thing.
Wising up a little bit.
Yeah, that's so far over the edge. And I guess LA is not going to do that. But California, they set precedents, good or bad. They set precedences in California. So the thing that has been everyone's been talking about all week, and I know that it's beating this drum so much, and it has to be one of the most interesting cases I've seen in a long time, is the former Dallas police officer found guilty of murder. Now this is Amber Guyger. Todd Cunin, who's our normal co-host, was a former prosecutor in Tennessee and California, now has his own criminal practice. This is up his genre. I don't practice criminal law. I don't know much about it. I do know a little bit. And what I do know is in Texas, where this occurred, many states have what's called first and second degree murder. Texas only has murder. It doesn't have first and second degree murder. It just has murder. And what's called capital murder, and then you can do what's called manslaughter. The difference basically is, murder is, I don't know the difference in Texas because in other states where there's first and second degrees, it's not premeditated. You didn't premeditate to
lie in wait.
Yeah, lie in wait to shoot a person. Where first degree is you intended, you lied in wait. You set this thing up. But manslaughter is basically negligent and reckless, type of behavior.
That your behavior caused the loss of human life.
Yeah. And so the question is, why was this not manslaughter instead of murder? And Denise and I have talked about this back and forth. Why didn't she get convicted of manslaughter? And Denise brought up a very important point as you watched some of this, but there was something that you noted that was kind of a tipping point in what you saw.
Right. I saw an interview of several of the jurors that were on there, and they basically said why they found her guilty of murder was because she admitted that when she shot the victim, that she did shoot to kill the victim, and she had testified she was afraid that he was going to shoot her, and she was acting in self-defense. But by her saying that she intended to shoot him to kill him, that was enough to rise to murder in their eyes. And they didn't have any other choices. I mean, manslaughter was part of the same conviction, if you will, for murder, but murder's a higher charge. So when they found enough for manslaughter, then they had to ask about the intention, and she testified to her intention. And they felt like they had to impose a sentence that was, all of them agreed 28 years was way too much, because that's what the prosecutor was asking for. And they all said, no, there clearly was a mistake here. She needs to serve time for what she did. And they came down with a 10-year sentence, and she should be eligible for parole in 5 years.
What's interesting is there's still protests and people out there protesting. I don't think there's any. Some people you just can't make happy no matter what. But again, the elephant in the room is the brother that testifies. Yeah. I wish. I forgive you. I love you. What an amazing thing.
He said, I know if you go to God and ask him, he will forgive you. That was his very first thing.
Yeah.
Because he's a God-loving person and a Christian that believes in forgiveness. And he also said, everybody else wants you to rot and die in hell, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't. I want what's best for you. I don't even want you to go to jail. I want what's best for you, because what my brother would want would be give your life to Christ. And by giving your life to Christ, that's exactly what my brother would want. Yeah. And he was such a forgiving soul that he asked the judge, may I hug her? And he wanted to hug the defendant. And the judge didn't want to do it initially, and he said, please, please. Yeah. She said, please, please.
No, he said, please, yeah, but yeah.
He said, please, and the judge finally said, okay, and they hugged, and everybody's crying.
And you see the judge was crying, too.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, it tells you about the individual that was killed, what a great man he was, too. It sounds like he was just the epitome, and just a person coming out of a tough situation. He was from Africa, Ghana, or somewhere, I don't know. But he became an accountant and is a great citizen of the United States. And anyway, we wish it was a bad situation, but what a great person that the brother was. And it sounds like the individual that was shot was just a wonderful man. Hey, we'll be back in our third hour talking about more radio, more law, and having fun. We'll be back.
You have been listening to RadioLawTalk.com, a copyrighted presentation of Radio Law Talk Incorporated.